My name is Melissa Aguilera, and this is my story. I was 15 years old when I had to break the news to my parents that I was expecting my first baby. My mom answered back to me and said, "In this house, we do not believe in abortion. We want you to have the baby." I did not understand what abortion was at that age, but I was happy to know that my parents were there to support me, even though the baby's father was not. I had my daughter 2 months after my 16th birthday, and I was able to be a single parent to a little girl. 8 months after that, I met this other guy, and we just decided to go out and get to know each other. In that process, I became pregnant again. But this time around, I was too afraid to tell my parents what I had done again. So I went and talked to the guy, and what he said to me was, "Either you get an abortion, or I will get a hanger and do it myself." Again, I didn't understand what abortion was, and especially what a hanger had to do with anything. But all I know is that he picked me up from my house, took me to an abortion clinic. I went in, I had an ultrasound done. When I asked to see the screen, I was told that they were not allowed, so they made sure to turn the screen a little bit more so I would not see the screen. The next day, they gave me an appointment to come in and to get the abortion done. I was so scared. When I came in, I just saw a waiting room full of girls, especially around my age, being there for the same reason. We did not have anybody, no family members, no support, just us there by ourselves, wearing these white gowns and just sitting there waiting for our name to be called. I wasn't sure what abortion I got done that day because when I was called to the back, I was taken to a room. I remember how cold it was in there and very, very bright. Next thing you know, I was out. I got up and I was in a recovery room sitting on a chair with some juice in front of me and a few crackers. I went home. He took me back home actually. And I remember the excruciating pain that I was feeling at that moment. I had to basically come clean to my sister and let her know what I had done. My mom did not know. And all I keep thinking now, because I didn't think about it then, how I was a minor and I did not even have my mom with me to consent for anything. I couldn't vote. I couldn't drink. Maybe I couldn't even get a tattoo without my mom's consent, but I was able to get an abortion without her even knowing where I was at. Sometime after, I met this other guy, and this time around, he was a married guy, and I got pregnant again. And this time he asked me nicely, but he did ask me if I could get an abortion because he did not want to lose his wife and his family. So I again agreed to have an abortion. This time around, when I went in, I remember just going into a room where the doctor didn't even see me the day before. He just performed the abortion right there. I was awake and I heard this horrible sound coming out of a machine. And I remember how scared I was because I kept hearing the noise, not understanding again what was happening. All I knew in the moment is that he was going to make everything better and that he was going to help me out because I needed help at that moment. Sometime, very, very long time after that, I met this wonderful man who became my husband. Right now, we just celebrated 25 years of marriage. He has been an amazing dad to the 2 daughters I had prior and to the one that we have. He has been amazing to us. Sometime after that, I decided to go to school and get my bachelor with the support of my husband. And it was there where I came to find out what abortion was. I had a class and the teacher asked us to write a paper and to pick a topic. I decided to pick the topic on abortion because I figured, okay, I had 2 abortions, so I know that I could talk about me and my experience. I just didn't know that I had to go home and open the computer to research that topic. And that's when I came to realize the mistake that I had made. I was faced with so many pictures and videos. And I just remember just falling on the floor in my room, looking up and saying, God, how can you ever forgive me for what I have done? I have murdered 2 babies. I kept going to church. I was the director of the youth, but I felt like I was such a fraud. I basically felt like no way God could ever look at me the same way. I was afraid to share what I had done back then out of fear of being judged, criticized. But I remember so many emotions came on that day when I got to see what I saw. I got angry at the people that lied to me. Why would people tell me that it was a clump of cells when I could clearly see that it was a baby and that my babies had a heartbeat? Sometime after that, I got invited to a service by a friend of mine, and he said, come to our church. We have a special service and bring your youth. And at the end of the service, he said, I'm just going to allow the Holy Spirit to come and speak. And whatever I feel, I'm going to share. So then he said, there is a woman here, and I feel from God to say that you had 1 abortion. And then he paused himself and he said, no, I feel that God is saying you had 2 abortions. He said, I feel the Lord saying to you, woman, daughter, forgive yourself, for I have already forgiven you. I got up out of that chair. I think everybody in that room knew that it was me. The youth that was with me, they knew that I was that woman, I was that person. They had had 2 abortions. But I just felt as I was getting up that God was just completely breaking the chains. I felt this freedom coming over me. And I just felt completely forgiven by God. That's the day that I decided I need to share this with others. I understood at that time that God wanted to use this, that God wanted to use my past into my present and for my future so I could help other people. So as God was calling me to basically open a pregnancy center, I kept running away out of fear, and the fear came back. This time the fear was because I wasn't sure how to open a pregnancy center. I wanted to be obedient to God, but I just didn't know how to do it. And I started researching some information. And it was during that week that I just went into my Facebook page and I came across Not Forgotten Ministry on my page. I felt like God sent Tori to me as a blessing because I was able to reach out to her. I didn't understand how her ministry was in my page, but I see it as such a blessing from God. I reached out to her, and right away she got back to me. And I told her what I was planning on doing, that I wanted to open a pregnancy center where I lived. And she said, yes, let's talk about it. And after we talked, she said to me, have you ever received any type of healing, or have you ever done a Bible study for post-aborted women? And I said, no. I thought at that time I didn't really needed it, that I was already forgiven and that I had already moved on and that I was happy. And so I said, I haven't, but she convinced me to join one of the groups, which I did. And it was one of the best decisions I made. I was able to be there in this group with other ladies that understood me and my pain and what I had done back then, because they all felt the same. And it was the pain and the loss of our babies that connected us in such an amazing way. The classes that Tori gives and the heart that she has for this ministry is just so amazing. It is so beautiful to be able to belong to a group again where you feel safe to share, to open up, but mostly to receive healing from this trauma. It is a trauma. I know that I see things completely different. I know that I could think about my babies and I could cry for them and not feel guilty or feel bad because I'm crying. I'm not crying because of guilt. I am crying because I miss my little ones. And I am crying for joy because I know that one day I get to see them. I get to embrace them up in heaven. I know that I will see them again. And Tori, thank you for all the help that you have given me. I couldn't do half of what I have done if it wasn't for you.